Today we're going to learn about regular verbs in the simple present. This means we're not going to focus on the verb to be. Here's the video credit. Today we're going to learn about regular verbs in the simple present. This picture was taken by Joel Hazelton, and I'll send you the PowerPoint so you can look at it in more detail. English has regular and irregular verbs. Regular verbs follow the rules. Irregular verbs don't always follow the rules. We learned about the verb to be in the previous video, and to be is an irregular verb. This video will focus on regular verbs in the simple present tense. Regular verbs are easy in the present tense. That's because the verb stays the same as the infinitive, except in the third person singular. That's the only time we change the base verb. Let's look at the conjugation. The verb to work in the simple present tense. I work at Phoenix College. You work in the library. He works for Costco. We work on the weekend. You work with each other. They work near home. Now you notice that with most verbs, we add s to the base verb to form the third person singular. As you saw, work becomes works in the third person singular. Review. The third person singular is used when the subject is a pronoun like she, he, or it, or a person's name such as Cora, or a noun phrase, the baby. For example, again using the verb to work, we could say Letitia works at Marshall's, but so we don't have to keep saying Letitia, we can say she works diligently. Similarly, Mark works a lot. We replace Mark with he. He even works on Sunday. The computer works well. Here the subject is the computer. We replace the computer with it. It works better than the old one. Now let's look at the verb to fly. I fly to Los Angeles. You fly on Southwest Airlines. She flies for business. We fly with our family. You fly out of Mesa Regional. They fly instead of driving. Now you notice in every person except for the third person singular, the verb is simply the base verb from the infinitive. And here's the rule. If a verb ends in a consonant and the letter Y, we change the Y to IES. There are two types of letters, consonants and vowels. Vowels are the letters A, E, I, O, and U. All the other letters in the alphabet are consonants. So fly becomes flies with IES in the third person singular because the letter L is a consonant followed by Y. Now let's look at the verb to brush. I brush my hair. You brush your teeth. He brushes the dog. We brush our children's hair. You brush each other's hair. They brush the couch. If the verb ends in the letters or the letter combinations CH, S, SH, X, or Z, we add ES to the verb. Now, the way I remember which letters is I think of this memory device, this mnemonic. Cheap, silly shoes for cholos and zebras. If you remember this mnemonic, you'll know when you have to add es. Now let's look at the verb to pay. I pay my bills. You pay the dentist. He pays for the gas. We pay our tuition. You pay each other. They pay at the end of the month. This verb follows the rule that if the verb ends in a vowel and y, we add s. Pay becomes pays in the third person singular, and ignore my typo here, because the letter A is a vowel that comes before y. Let's look at some of the details. Every sentence must have a verb and a subject, which is a noun or a pronoun. This is the bare minimum to have a sentence in the English language. For example, she eats, Alex snores. These are complete sentences even though they are only 2 words. Most sentences have other words, so they express complete thoughts. Let's go back to our example of the verb to work. Now, I've highlighted prepositional phrases in each of these sentences. At Phoenix College, in the library, for Costco, on the weekend, with each other, near home. These are all prepositional phrases. A prepositional phrase is a group of words that begins with a preposition and ends with a noun or a pronoun. A prepositional phrase shows direction, time, location, relationships, or otherwise indicates an object. So again, looking at the sentences with to work, at Phoenix College shows location. You work in the library, location. He works for Costco shows a relationship. We work on the weekend, time. You work with each other, a relationship. They work near home, location. Now, contrast that with these sentences that have nouns after the verb. I brush my hair, you brush your teeth, he brushes the dog, we brush our children's hair, you brush each other's hair, they brush the couch. Some action verbs are followed by a noun or a pronoun. And brush is an action verb because the subject is doing something in that sentence. Now notice, an action verb is never followed by an adjective unless that adjective modifies a noun or a pronoun. What does that mean? Compare, I brush my hair. Here we have a noun. You brush beautiful. Now that adjective just looks wrong and the whole sentence is wrong. If I say he brushes his beautiful hair, that's okay because the direct object, which is what the noun is called, is hair, and beautiful is just giving us more information about hair. This sentence is correct. We brush beautifully, but beautifully is an adverb, and we're not going to pay attention to that right now. Pronunciation. It's very important that you practice pronouncing the verbs carefully, because in English, the third person singular present tense verbs end in S. However, there are 3 different ways that ending S can sound. Sometimes it sounds like a Z, Z. Sometimes it sounds like an S, S. And sometimes it's a syllable that sounds like is. For example, drives as an ending Z sound. Works, ending S sound. Washes, is sound. Now, most third person singular verbs end in the Z sound. So you only have to remember the rules for the S and is sound. A third person singular verb has the S sound if the base verb ends in the letters F, K, P, or T. And I think in pictures. I like mnemonics. I like memory devices. So to remember this rule, I think of 4 kangaroos play tennis. For example, laughs, bakes, stops, meets. And notice what matters is the sound of the letter, not the spelling. So laughs ends in GH, but the base verb sound, laugh, is an F sound. Now, if the base verb ends in CH, S, SH, X, or Z, the ending sound will be is. And you already know this mnemonic. It is cheap, silly shoes for cholos and zebras. As in watches, misses, shushes, boxes, buzzes. Now it's your turn.